Hello, you're watching Hornbill TV's Nordic Express Bulletin. The centre is deploying more Central Armed Police Forces in Manipur. Altogether, 288 companies of troops will be deployed in Manipur, said Security Advisor Kuldeep Singh. Commenting on the matter, senior journalist and author Pradeep Kumar Pannajoba said the move may be part of the centre's efforts to calm the situation in the state. Panjobam said in a conflict, one cannot disarm only one side. Both sides have to be equally treated. He was referring to the needs for disarming both Kuki and Meitei sides. He, however, cautioned that so many times people predicted different things and unfolded completely different stories.
Sir, you being someone who is associated with law enforcing agencies, sir, there is a report by the Ministry of Home Affairs that additional 70 more company of Central Paramilitary Forces will be sent to Manipur. Sir, do you feel that in the present condition, there is a requirement for more central forces in Manipur, sir?
It depends on how the forces are being used. It is not so much the number or the quantity, but the qualitative use of the forces that's coming in. We are not very sure as to the purpose of the additional deployment. Where are they going to be deployed? Is there a strategic plan how to use these additional forces? That is very, very unclear in our mind. Where are these forces going to be deployed? As we speak, I see them scattered all over the town. The trucks and the vehicles moving left and right. But we do not see a very coherent, consistent strategy as to how this violence is going to be contained. And I hope the state government will make use of this additional force where the forces can be optimally utilized and targeted at containing the violence as we see.
So lastly, any comments on the reimposition of AFSPA in 6 more police stations?
Again, AFSPA is a mechanism. And again, it will depend on the intent and the will and the political will for the imposition of the AFSPA. There was AFSPA in several police districts before this imposition, and yet the violence continued. If there is a proper laid out policy and program as to how violence will be contained, this could have been done even without AFSPA. So the imposition of AFSPA does not, to me, make any meaning at this point in time. We'll have to wait and see how these mechanisms as well as the additional forces are used to bring in, to contain the violence as we see.
Retired policeman Pro Jim Tangjam says it depends on how the troops are being used. It is not so much the numbers but the qualitative use of the troops that is an important issue. He said that the troops are at the moment scattered all over. He suggested lack of strategy to contain the violence in the state.
Really required that much amount of security. What is your assessment of the situation?
No, my assessment is no, not required. We are already, before the sending of this, before 50, the 20 had come, and after that now 15. Before these companies came, the state is already oversaturated with the security forces. And it is a question of how to utilize them, how to deploy them, how to use them. It is listen with the central government. It should be done. With that, there is sufficient, force which can take care of the situation. I don't know why these things again and again. Maybe that recently the houses of the ruling parties, MLAs, ministers have been attacked. Maybe to provide protection to that, it may be. But otherwise, I don't see the requirement. As I said, I would like to quote that when mobile entry to Manipur was stopped, it was only the Manipur police which stopped and manning about 4 or 5 entry points, about 5 entry points. And at the time, no security force, outside force was required. So if Manipur police could do it, we don't want to. It is meager force. I don't see why already saturated, oversaturated. I will say not saturated, oversaturated force cannot take care of the situation. It is, as I said, it's a question of intelligently and tactically utilizing with in a proactive manner with advanced, anticipation, etc. We are talking about this state government has said that they did not have the intelligence. Now this is almost, I don't want to comment on that. Manipur is such a small state. You know where the Kukis are there, where the Maitis are there. So it is just only a matter, a little bit of common sense, a little bit of exercise of your brain. I mean, with that, whatever intelligence required cannot be easily be can easily be drawn up, and the proactive and anticipatory action can be taken.
Now there is a report by the Home Affairs saying that additional 70 more companies, which amount to altogether to 88 companies of Central Paramilitary Forces, will be sent to Manipur. Do you feel at this hour, there is a need for more additional forces in Manipur?
It's difficult to guess what the center has in plan, but from the appearance, it does seem there is a plan for clamp-down on the trouble here. And if that is to happen, it'll have to happen on both sides. You can't disarm one side. In a conflict, you can't disarm only one side. You'll have to disarm both sides. And that probably that's what is being planned. But we still have to wait and see how it unfolds. Because so many times we guessed different things, but it never unfolded the way we wanted. For instance, the arrival of troops have been happening for a long time, and we thought there was going to be some action. But these, as we have seen, were merely placed in the buffer zones and with no action. I'm not saying that the buffer zones are not necessary. The buffer zones are necessary. The end to immediate violence is necessary. But alongside that, there has to be a parallel kind of movement to solve the problem. You know, on one side, you're dealing with the symptoms. The symptoms are the violence outbreak, but you have to also look at the actual disease for there to be a lasting solution. Treating basically the symptoms only, which is why the problem has not gone. You have to deal at the root causes of these problems also, because the root causes are not gone, and those have to be settled. And I have spoken about this so many times that in international conflict studies, there is something called a frozen conflict. You just think that there is a solution, there's peace by the absence of violence. And this we have witnessed in Israel, for instance. Palestinians and the Israelis, they fight. And then when the fighting ends, we think problem is solved. Peace has returned. But because of conflict, the root causes of the conflict has not been settled. It keeps flaring up again and again. The problem is we have had this kind of approach to problem solving for a long time. For instance, in the Nagakuki violence, there was never any solution. It just ended because people are tired, and it can flare up again, as we're witnessing again now the demand for rollback of districts. Those are the sparks which can again flare up that old problem. And this Meitei and Kuki conflict can also end that way, which is not desirable. I mean, it should end, but as it ends, we also have to be looking for the long-term kind of solution where you identify the actual disease which has caused this present flare-up and treat those diseases as well.
Former Director General of Police and also Deputy Chief Minister in N. Biren Singh's first term, Y. Joy Kumar, however, feels there is no need for additional forces in the state. He said the state is already saturated by security forces and it is a matter of how to utilize the troops and how to deploy them. There are sufficient forces which can take care of the situations in the state, he added. Moving on to the next news. Manipur police have apprehended 6 more persons on Saturday in connection with cases of arson and damage to properties of the elected representatives on November 16. Large groups of people started attacking houses and properties of various elected representatives of the valley districts. The houses and properties of as many as 19 members of Legislative Assembly were attacked by mobs. The houses belongs to both ruling and opposition political parties. The violent mob held elected representatives responsible for failing to control situations in Manipur, particularly in the lead-up to the Jiribam incident in which 6 people were abducted and disposed their bodies later on. In the same night, the mob also tried to reach the ancestral house of the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, located at Luang Sangbam in Imphal East District. However, CRPF personnel and the police thwarted the attempt. According to the police control room statement, so far 41 persons have been apprehended by police. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju has requested lawmakers to maintain decorum and do not create ruckus during the winter session of the Parliament. The winter session of Parliament will begin tomorrow, November 25, and will continue till December 20. The minister spoke to the media about the all-party meeting. Kiren Rijiju said a total of 42 leaders from 30 political parties attended the meeting. There are many topics that were discussed and everyone asked for discussion on some topics, but the House wants that there should be a good discussion in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, he said. The government is ready to discuss any topic and its only request is that the House should run well and there should be no ruckus, he said. Every member wants to participate in the discussion, but the House should run well, Rijiju said. To run the winter session well, he said everyone's cooperation is needed and everyone's participation is necessary.
मिलाकर के 42 पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स, 30 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के नेता और पार्टी के फ्लोर लीडर का आज पार्टिसिपेशन हुई। हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ने बहुत अच्छा सुझाव दिया और कुछ मांग रखे हैं और बारी बारी से हमने सारा पॉइंट नोट भी किया है। मैं आपको ये सूचित करना चाहता हूं कि जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के फ्लोर लीडर्स ने सुझाव दिया है उसको हम बिजनेस एडवाइजरी कमेटी में और राज्यसभा के चेयरमैन और लोकसभा के स्पीकर महोदय दोनों से बात करके फिर कौन कौन सा विषय चर्चा में लाना है इसको हम आगे बढ़ाएंगे। विषय तो बहुत है, कुछ विषयों पर सब लोग ने कहा कि चर्चा होना चाहिए। हम चाहते हैं कि विषय अच्छी तरह से लोकसभा राज्यसभा में चर्चा होनी चाहिए। सरकार तैयार है, किसी भी विषय पर चर्चा करने के लिए सरकार की ओर से हमेशा तैयार होते हैं। हम सिर्फ अनुरोध यही करते हैं कि सदन अच्छा से चले, हंगामा ना हो। कोई भी विषय पार्लियामेंट में रखता है तो शांतिपूर्वक उस विषय को चर्चा होगा तो बहुत लाभ मिलेगा। हर सदस्य चर्चा में भाग लेना चाहता है, लेकिन सदन अच्छी तरह से चलना चाहिए। हमने आरंभ में हर पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को अपील किया है कि ये शीतकालीन सत्र, विंटर सेशन ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट अच्छी तरह से चले। इसमें सबका सहयोग चाहिए और सबका भागीदारी जरूरी है।
The Makhan Village Authority has criticized the Additional Superintendent of Police of Kangpokpi in Manipur for literally running away from armed poppy planters, calling it a complete mockery of their arms and uniform. In a statement issued on Saturday, the village's authority served a 4-day ultimatum to the government to destroy poppy plantations on Makhan Liangmai Naga land and to arrest the armed cookie poppy cartel groups involved. Failure to comply within a given timeline will result in consequences that are both repulsive and abominable, the authority stated. In the press release, the Makhan Village Authority described the incident as an affront to their reputation for clemency and character. They emphasized that any attempt to exploit their peaceful disposition would be met with justified retaliation. The statement highlighted an alarming encroachment into Makhan Liangmai Naga land by opium poppy planters allegedly involved cookie groups and individuals. According to the authority, on November 20 at 11:30 a.m., despite prior communication with the SP of Kangpokpi, young volunteers from Makhan village alongside the additional SP and over 30 police personnel were attacked during a mission to destroy poppy plantations. The attackers, wielding firearms and other weapons, aggressively confronted the team, destroying the equipment brought to uproot the poppy plants and effectively derailing the mission, updates stated. The Makhan Village Authority warned of serious repercussions if the government fails to act within the 4-day deadline. They declared that all forms of transport and commuting through their land would face democratic tampering if no action is taken. Several Meitei organizations on Saturday organized demonstration and rallies in Kakching district against the reimposition of Armed Forces Special Powers Act in the state. The procession began from Lamjau Mayai Lekai to Kaira Keitel of Kakching district. The rally was organized by Kunai Kanba Meira Baibi Abunba Loop, Kakching District United Clubs Organization, Manipur Student Federation, Kakching District Committee, All Manipur Women's Voluntary Association, Kakching Unit. The Ministry of Home Affairs had reimposed AFSPA on November 14 in areas including Sekmai Police Station and Lamsang Police Station in Imphal West, Lamlai in Imphal East, Moirang in Bishnupur, Lema Kong in Kangpokpi and Jiribam, which has been affected by fresh violence. The Manipur government has formally requested the centre to reconsider and revoke the reimposition of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act in the 6 police station areas of the state.
Kaching district asigi khunai kan ba apun ba mara pai bi luki general secretary ki thoram pujari bani aduna ngasi ki rally ki khongse ase Kaching district asida lairi ba nipung khodi mak yamdong gi nupi nupa khodi mak ki thamoi da chudu na laira ba jiri gi ngarang na hangi thongdok aduga tha kara tere chupna manipur da santi pura pangam da ba myot minai lau shu da kaptharak ba hatharak ba miyam gi mamal yamla pun si kaya ngasi mamal leitana ufun gum na manghali ba ngasi ki india lenga kamadi state lenga ta ekoi pen da bi ki khongse ni ekoi na chachali ba se aduga nakalamada manipur da AFSPA thamjan biduna ngasi ekoi Manipur da leiriba chamjaraba yalhong sing muthanaba mamba mawong asi ek asibu Manipur da thamjin ba yaroi haibagi mayokta chachalaba rally khumja.
Doctors, lawyers, senior journalists, engineers and other educated professionals came together as Taragi Jesu and held a protest at Imphal on Saturday. Educated professionals and research scholars said they are frustrated with the prolonged crisis in the state and they decided to hold silent protests. Projan Tangjam, a retired police officer, said the protest represents a wide section of academic community in the state and that the immediate reason for protest was that the recent incident in Jiribam, where innocent women and children were targeted. Brozan said the academic community in the state is worried about the shrinking moral and ethical space in the wake of the present crisis, ethnic clash, and said the disappearance of legitimate institutions of the state is a cause of concern. He further said, through these protests, an appeal is being made to the authorities to reassert the legitimate institutions of the state. He said the need of the hour is to contain the violence, sooner the better. Meanwhile, participating in the protest, research scholar Devina Moirang said targeting women and children is an inhuman act and as such it should be condemned.
So sir, your name please sir?
My name is Brojan Tangjam. I'm a retired police officer and a United Nations official.
Sir, please continue.
And part of the Taragi session that is coordinating today's sit-in protest.
Sir, what is this silent protest being organized by Taragi Jesu today?
This protest was organized by Taragi Jesu, coordinated by Taragi Jesu, but it represents a wide section of the professional and academic community of the state. One thing we have realized is that, of course, the immediate reason for the protest is the incident in Jiribam, where innocent women and children were very brutally killed during the incident, during the crisis. But we also wanted to reclaim the shrinking moral and ethical space in the wake of this crisis. One development that we have seen with concern is that the shrinking moral and ethical space, as also the disappearance of the legitimate institutions of the state. Through this protest, we want to appeal to those who matter, to those who are in authority, to reassert the legitimate authority of the state and contain the violence sooner than later.
So your name please?
Devina Moirang. I am a research scholar in Pentagon University, Manipur. We are sitting here to protest against the killing of the six innocent civilian of Manipur in Jirbam, including 3 women and 3 children. Like it is like targeting against the unarmed civilians, innocent children. We are strongly condemning against killing of those innocent 8-month-old children. It is like killing a very innocent who cannot even speak even a little word also. So it is very inhuman, and it is like we are not even supporting the domestic violence also. We are still protesting against the domestic violence against women, and now it is like in harming those unarmed women and children. It is so inhuman, and I want to say that the concerned departments, concerned governments to look after the situation and punish those who are responsible for this inhuman act. Thank you.
That's all for the Northeast Express Bulletin. For more news and updates, keep watching Hornbill TV.